Jackanory.
Hello, boys and girls. Today's story, show them the book cover. The Devil's in the Detail. Once upon a time, in the little village of Makermend lived two brothers, Humpback Henry and Claude Clubfoot. None of the other villagers would talk to them because of how they looked, and children teased them in the streets. "Hey, you humpty-back bastard!" they would call out as Henry shuffled by. "Hey, you clumpy foot cunt!" they would shout as Claude limped past, and they would throw bricks and lumps of shit at them. Every night, Humpback Henry and Claude Clubfoot would sit at their tiny table in the local inn, quaffing ale and ignored by all the other customers. One night, it was Henry's birthday. The two of them supped more ale than usual, and it was late before they left the inn. Claude Clubfoot lived in a tiny hovel only a few yards away, so was able to limp home safely. But Humpback Henry lived in a rickety hut all the way across the village. He had to circle the village pond and then go around the churchyard before reaching home. So that night he decided to take a shortcut through the darkened churchyard. As he wobbled nervously through the dark graveyard, his way lit only by brief flashes of the moon through the clouds, he reached a large stone tomb. He was suddenly startled by a bright green flash of light, and lo, there in front of him stood the devil, Beelzebub himself. His eyes glowed red and evil as he stared malevolently at the cringing Humpback Henry. "What's that on your back?" demanded Lucifer, pointing a scaly hand at Henry's hump. "It's a hump," stammered Henry. "Give it to me," exclaimed Beelzebub, reaching out with a scaly claw and then disappearing in a flash of green light. To Humpback Henry's astonishment, he suddenly felt different. He straightened up, ran his hands over his back. He was a normal man. His hump was gone. Unable to believe his luck, he ran off to the graveyard and off home to bed. The next night, his brother Claude Clubfoot was sitting waiting at their usual table at the inn when in walked his brother. The inn fell silent as Henry, yes, now just Henry, strutted proudly in, flexing his broad shoulders, his straight back, and now a very handsome man indeed. He sat down next to his astonished brother. "Wow," said Claude Clubfoot. "Fuck me sideways. What happened to your hump?" "You're not going to believe this," said Henry, now just Henry, and he proceeded to tell his brother of his midnight meeting with the devil next to the stone tomb in the graveyard. "And he just took it away?" said Claude Clubfoot. "That's right," said Henry, tipping a wink to the village slapper, who was now gazing at his newly broad shoulders like an Ethiopian eyeing a bag of chips. "I'm fucking having some of that," exclaimed Claude Clubfoot. He hurriedly knocked back his can of McEwen's Export and limped speedily towards the door and out into the dark of the night. He limped purposefully into the dark graveyard, dragging his useless swollen foot behind him. It was another dark night, and he made his way carefully between the gloom of the tombstones until he reached the large stone tomb his brother had mentioned. Sure enough, there was another big green flash of light, and there before him stood the devil in all his magnificence and horror. Despite himself, Claude Clubfoot cringed in terror. Beelzebub looked him up and down belligerently, and then demanded, "What's that on your back?" Claude was puzzled. "On me back? Nothing." The devil reached out with a scaly hand. "Here," he said, "have a hump."
Golden bollocks!
Jackanory.